Hey guys, Patrick here. So today we're going to replace the water pump. Water pump has failed, at least I think it has, because coolant is pouring out from the top and the bottom whenever the water pump runs. So I'm going to replace that and hopefully be able to finally test out my new alpha cooler that I installed. It's a pretty straightforward process. We just have to remove the supercharger, I think the throttle body as well, and then hopefully we don't have to remove the entire front end, but I think we might have to, so we'll see if we can get around that by using some bolts. Okay, so it's gonna be like a sort of a vlog style. I'm not gonna go into too much of a tutorial situation. Maybe give you guys a few tips here and there to make this process a little bit easier if you're gonna do it yourself, because there's absolutely no sort of video or any sort of media guide for this water pump replacement. And I'm also going to replace my thermostat as well. So this is the new HEPU, I think that's how it's pronounced, HEPU water pump. I got a new pulley. I'm not sure why. I thought it would be a good idea to replace it because we're taking off the water pump. And we also have a thermostat. Where is the thermostat? And since we're already at it, I decided to replace the reservoir tank as well, and then miscellaneous hardware in this bag. I also have some gear oil too for the transmission that I was hoping to change, but probably won't change that today. Also got some fill and drain plugs too to replace those, coolant, and radiator flush. I'm not sure why I got this one. I think came with the ECS tuning kit. So the first thing we want to do is remove the intake. So I have an aftermarket Euro code intake, so it just has a little clamp here that I'm loosening, and I'm going to pull it off the throttle body. I'm going to pull off this tiny little, what I think is a vacuum hose. I'm going to pull this, move this off to the side. Take this to be a little easier. And I'm going to plug up the throttle body with some paper cloth. Okay, so I took off the supercharger, pretty straightforward. I'm disconnecting a whole bunch of vacuum hoses, air lines, and electrical connectors, and supercharger just pulls right off. And it seems like my water pump is it's leaking. There's a lot of coolant down there. I actually vacuumed out a lot, suctioned it out rather. So now to change the thermostat and water pump. Okay, so the new water pump is on. There's about 7 hex bolts that you have to torque to 9 Newton meters. And now I'm trying to figure out how to take off this plastic coolant front pipe because the thermostat's right here, so I need to replace this. Already took out the bolts for that, but it's still not budging. So without taking off the front end, I used 2, I believe it was M10 times 1.5 bolts, and it was about 90 millimeters long. So I was able to pull out the front radiator support like a few inches to give me enough space to pull off the belts. So I was able to do that. I took off the V-belt for the supercharger and the serpentine belt too, because I was trying to replace this water pump. So this is the water pump that was on the Audi. This is version 2 that Audi redesigned. The first one was made out of plastic, and that's the one that failed at 20,000 miles. This one was replaced at 20,000, and the car has about 70,000 on it right now. It doesn't look like it was leaking at all, so I don't think it was necessary to replace this water pump, but I did just in case. I replaced it with the HEPU, I think that's how you pronounce it, HEPU water pump, which is right about there. So hopefully that will last long, because it looks like the gasket on here might have, the gasket looks alright, but just in case, as a precaution, I just replaced this as well. So the next thing I want to replace is the thermostat. So this is the OEM thermostat that Audi supplies. So I'm gonna replace this. Need to figure out how to remove this front pipe, coolant pipe. All right, so things are finishing up. This is a new coolant reservoir tank. I think the old one was leaking slightly from underneath where the sensor is on the bottom. So that's been changed. I changed out all these gaskets. There's a new water pump, new pulley here, new thermostat. What else is new? Yeah, I think that is it. So all those things are changed. I'm going to put the serpentine belt back on, and then the V belt for the supercharger once I place the supercharger back on. So I numbered all these things over here. It coordinates with the things on the supercharger in terms of the vacuum lines and electrical connectors. There's more back there, so there's a lot of connections going to the throttle body and the supercharger and whatnot. So yeah, this is a lot more I'd say involved than working on my Miata, that's for sure. You can see down there, you can see a little bit of fluid down there, a little coolant. That was from the thermostat. Hopefully that was the only place that, you know, coolant was leaking from. I do not want to find out that I have a leak elsewhere, because although now I figured out how to, you know, pull off the front radiator support to get more space and stuff like that. It's just time consuming to take off all these little connectors and lines and whatnot. So I definitely think next time it's going to be a lot faster, but hopefully there is not a next time. The only next time I want to pull off this front subframe is when I install the smaller supercharger pulley for stage 2. Hopefully also change out the crank pulley down there too. I'm thinking like JHM's overdrive pulley, make this car into a dual pulley car, make this a little bit faster, because I also have the APR throttle body too that I'm going to place on there. So yeah, hopefully my coolant issues are solved after this, so cross your fingers, because I'm so friggin' tired of having coolant spew out everywhere, and I want to enjoy this new Alpha AMS cooler. So, all right. So everything's buttoned up. Radiator just went for a test drive. Looks like coolant temps are much lower now. We'll see how well the AMS cooler works and the reservoir with the auxiliary pump. It looks like I might have missed a few wires, maybe some vacuum hoses or whatnot, because the check engine light is on right now. So I'm going to take out the VAGCOM and do some diagnostics and try to find out why that light is on. But otherwise, seems like there's no lack of power or anything, so I might have missed one, or hopefully just one vacuum line somewhere. So I'm going to work on that. I have test pipes coming in from Crown Motorsports coming, I think, Friday, so hopefully this weekend I'll be able to install it.